All right, guys. So this is actually going to be the second part of finishing up Tyler's issue. I was able to test some issues in between, and I think we figured out what the issue is. So I've got Tyler on the line, and we're going to give that a shot now. So let's switch over to this view, and Tyler can say hello, Tyler.
Hey, everybody.
So the issue that we were having before was the controls were still going all out of whack, and we couldn't figure out why in the hell, even though we put the settings in correctly in the colors and the Controls.INI file, why they were still going all over the place. Right now, you made some updates over the night. What were you able to get fixed, and how did you fix it?
So what I did is, after yesterday, we remapped or we force mapped all the controls in MAME manually so that they would be more organized and also to not float, because we had a problem where my control panel, the GP, was floated to Joy-Code 4 in MAME, and previously it had been all set with Joy-Code 3. So we messed around with a bunch of stuff, and then after we were messing around with stuff so much, I couldn't even get MAME to boot any games. It would just putter out. So what I did is I reinstalled MAME. I moved the folder of ROMs and everything over to the new install, did a clean install of LED Blinky too, and I noticed that even when I had my controls plugged in different orders, whatever, LED Blinky would always see my GP Whiz as Joy-Code 3. So I got to thinking, there must be a reason for that, why MAME was always seeing it as 3 previous to it was started floating. So I went back into the control mapping file that we made, and we had set it to Joy-Code 4 as a hard map, the GP Whiz. I set it back to Joy-Code 3, and everything worked. Everything worked just fine. And now everything is hard mapped, or GP Whiz is hard mapped to 3. It can't float. It can't move anywhere on its own. And the lights are going on for a huge portion of games. It was before, and I'm not getting the two. Previously on my panel, I have 4 buttons at the top, which are for like MAME functionality: quit, cancel, or quit, select, menu, load, save state. Those are no longer lighting up. Previously, I would have like 2 buttons would randomly light up one color, and
Okay.
you and I tried to go and get it so that we could go and have them each be a different color just for fun, and also to figure out why only 2 were lighting up. And so I think that's right around where we're at right now.
Okay. I also want to check one other thing, because I think what's probably happening is if you redid everything, then we're probably now on is this the current LED Blinky? Is that right?
Yes, that
Okay.
was the one that I just installed last night.
Okay. And now we have a registered version, which is very good. So we're gonna just look again at your input map here. Make sure, yep, all the Joy Code 3s, that's all fine. And then that one's all fine. Okay, and now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to Animation Editor. And this one you couldn't really use much before because it was all locked down.
Mm-hmm.
But now you have full version. So what we're going to do is we're going to move this over here where we can see it. And we're going to do new layout. And we're saying, yep, we got to look at the input map file, which is right here. And now it knows all your buttons. And what we're going to do is, can you position these approximately where they are on your control panel, please? All right, so we now have our default layout. Now what we're going to do is make a new animation for just your top buttons. And that is, actually, no, we don't want that because we're not using animation editor during the game. Because you don't have, well, do you have any jukeboxes set up right now?
No, just games.
Okay. So in that case, we can use the animation file. The reason why I don't is because on mine, I have jukebox mode, so I have to disable it in order to get the audio thing to flash the way I want when I want. But since you don't use it, what we can do is we say, what do we want the first button to be again?
Um,
On top row.
red. Let's just do red. Yeah, that's
Okay,
good.
so red, and then this one is
We
what
do
color?
white,
Okay, so
white,
we'll got
and
white.
then we could do like a turquoise maybe,
Go
or
ahead and select which one you like.
Let's do this.
Okay, and then go ahead and select the last one and set that for whatever you want it to be by hitting pick color. Oh, you might have to double click it first.
That might be too dark. Hang on.
Okay.
There we go. Okay.
Okay, and then we're going to do save animation, and we're going to save this in the LWA folder as in-game control buttons. All right. So now what we're going to do is when your game is playing, we're going to close this first to make sure the file shows up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what we're doing is we're using this gameplay animation to make sure that no matter what happens, these 4 lights get lit up. Right? And we're going to have this unchecked because you do not have a jukebox mode. So anytime a game is running, we want these buttons to light up. And just confirm, are they lit up on your panel?
No, but my launch box is open and that's playing another animation. So let me close that launch box.
Oh, yeah. And then hit stop and then hit test again.
Yeah, it looks great. They're all lit up perfectly.
Okay, great. So we're going to go ahead and stop, and that's going to now be our animation whenever we're in a game. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and check that box so we know use Flash. Now, we want to look at the controls editor again, because I think if you use the launch RocketBlinky, sorry, then it's going to be set in here. And in worst case scenario, if you end up going back to that because, hey, it works for you, then that's fine. But I want to try to get it set up the way that it's supposed to be. QRST U. Okay, so it's still got the old one in there, so it does not have a new version of this in here. I'm only checking that because I want to make sure that what we do get is actually coming from the color codes file. Now, this error, as you can see, it's probably, high text. So we don't want that. What we want to do also to prevent that until I'm getting the same issue on my machine, so I'm checking with RZoom now about it. But what we'll do in the meantime, so that doesn't get in our way, is we will not display the errors, so that way it'll just continue on. Now we're going to launch this and see if Mortal Kombat is still screwy. It probably could be. So what I was going to tell you is what I did on my arcade machine to fix it today, because mine started floating around on the colors. All the controls were still mapped correctly, but the colors of my LEDs were all over the place. And the reason ended up being that I had to redo my MAME.XML file for it to understand it. So let's see what happens with yours before we mess with that file. Ultimate under arcade. So let's get that launched and then see what's going on.
So right now, just like we thought, the top 4 buttons are all lit up properly.
Right. Yeah, if you would go ahead and hit a button and then turn the camera so I can see what's going on.
We don't have any
okay. So we got none of those lights, which is what I was expecting. Go ahead and escape out. And then what we're going to do is we're going to close LED Blinky. We're going to go to MAME.dev.org. We're going to go down. No. We're going to downloads, latest release. And we're looking for this file here. And we're going to go to your downloads and save right there. Once it finishes, open it. And we're going to copy that, extract to a specified folder. We're going to extract it to your, that's not the one you use. You use, not in here either. It's in regular one, right?
Oh, so you mean where MAME is at right now?
No, where your launch box is. Oh, that's in your
Oh,
documents, isn't it?
you got to go to users and it's in here. I'll do it.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So we're going to dump this main file. I'm just going to put it in your LED Blinky folder. And then we're going to close that. And we're going to look down here. Where's the Okay. And then we're going to go to ledblinky.net. We'll download there. And we're going to download the Controls.INI file. Okay, that's in downloads. And then we're not worried about changing the colors INI file. So now we've got that. We're going to grab this and we're going to extract to, and we're going to go to the same thing under users, arcade, launch box, LED Blinky. I think I put it right in there. Anyway, so we'll close that now and shrink that. And now we're in this LED Blinky. Okay, we're going to go ahead and put that in here with this one. Yep, we're going to replace that control file. Now, under LED Blinky, we're going to now relaunch LED Blinky. And we're going to tell it for MAME, the MAME.XML file is, and the reason why I like keeping it in a folder other than MAME is just so that it, if you use other versions of the MAME emulator, you have it in one place for all your MAME stuff. So there's our MAME.229 XML file. We have then the MAME folder, that's fine. We have the Controls.INI file, which we just downloaded. Make sure we're in the right spot. We are. Controls.INI, which again now is LED Blinky. We still have our colors.ini file, which is LED Blinky, and then this H2 text thing, which I'm not even sure about. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to launch, I'm going to close that. We're going to launch Launchbox, and we're going to look at the Mortal Kombat thing when we highlight it. We're going to check that out.
I did generate a new MAME.XML for this last version. Is it the same thing as me when I think I did, it was like a command that I had to run through the command terminal. Because it was a brand new, I didn't have one for the new version. It didn't come with it.
Yeah, they've started offering it separately. The problem is a lot of users, when they go to generate that file, it's good yours actually did generate, because a lot of people it'll take like 30 or 40 minutes and then it'll be a 0-byte file.
Yeah, I've
So
seen that happen before too, actually. It's happened to me.
yeah, so that's nice that they offer it as a pre-made download now. So let's see, what are the buttons doing on yours?
They're lit up white when you just clicked on King of Fighters. They lit up, but they only lit up the 3 buttons that are used. Let's see, Mortal Kombat, all 6 are white.
Yep. Okay, so that's another thing too that we're going to change.
That one did colors right there when you clicked on that one.
That's because you're right.
Mm-hmm.
That's because the game was defined. But there's another thing that annoys me by default with the software, and that is in the colors RGB, black is actually lit. So I always go back in here and I set this to 0, because if we want black, black means off. It doesn't mean dim.
Yeah.
So now black will actually be black. Now we're going into our colors.ini file here, and we're going to look for, we're going to verify UMK, since we just copied the file, should not be in here. It's not. But we're going to now look for MK3, and we're going to take MK3 and we're going to copy it. And we're going to put every game that we enter at the top. We'll leave all the default ones down at the bottom, but if we enter fresh games, let's keep them at the top so it helps us remember what we did versus other people. So we're going to do that. We're going to make this one red. We're going to make the start button red. Now, granted, this doesn't affect you right now, but then your joystick for player 1 should be red. And then for player 2, we'll do blue. Good old, double dragon style. Now, the one thing that's kind of funny here is this is a known issue with the Mortal Kombat game and the way the JAMA cards were made. Inside the programming, that run button that's supposed to be in the bottom center is programmed as button 6. But in the physical arcade machine, the wiring was flipped.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to tell it that button 5 is yellow. And we're going to tell it that button 6 is blue. And then in the controls for that machine, not the general controls, but specifically for that machine, we'll flip those two commands. So button 5 now needs to be yellow, and button 6 needs to be blue. So we're going to go ahead and save this.
Oh, okay. Looks like it's working. These are proper now.
Okay. So so that's what's happening though is the joystick. Okay, so the joysticks both lit up blue. That is see here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what we want to do then. How that let me see. LED Blinky. Let's look at it together. LED Blinky support. How to configure physically restricted joystick. Okay, that's how to rotate it. It's just so weird that it groups them together. Oh, second check. LED Blinky config. Controls editor. Oh, no. Input out. Joystick 2 is Joy 8-way. Oh, interesting. Ah, that's why. They have the same control code. Aha. Okay, so what we want to find is Joy. We want player 1. Joy code. See if we can find Joy code 3 analog. Okay, so this would be X and Y. Should be. And this one, quick code. Okay, this would be that. That one. And then this would be that one. Joy code analog. Joy code analog. And that's the way it comes up in MAME, right?
Well, it doesn't specifically say analog, but it does say like X
Plus
and Y.
Y and
Plus,
yeah.
yeah.
All right, let's give this a shot now. So we want P2 joy. Okay, so but the label is still P2 joystick. Let's go ahead and now launch this. Let's see what happens. They definitely shouldn't both light up. The question's going to be if they light up the way we intended, which is player 1 blue, player 2 red. There's no way to get the well, the second player, you probably want something that's in for your games.
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure I've seen other games, like maybe 1942. It lit up blue keys and a blue joystick, and the left was a red key and a red joystick. So I've seen it before. I just haven't gotten it to work with this, but
Well, we definitely don't want to share inputs between the two. We definitely don't want that.
yeah, no, nothing's lighting up.
Give it a second. The fuck? Okay, escape out of that. Okay, so we have controls. Well, now we can put back in that's an 8-way thing. 8-way plus up here. So that's 8-way plus that. And then okay, and then in our colors file, we have those things to find there. Okay, and we're making sure that, yeah. So we, boy. So the rest of your normal stuff lit up, right?
As of this morning, it did. We can go
No,
and see if other things light up.
I meant
mean,
right
like
now is stuff flashing.
Oh yeah, everything is doing its
Okay.
little, idle animation. I think it's okay now. It's back to being lit up, and it looks like player 1 is white, and player 2 is.
Okay.
It was nothing. It was just off, but the buttons are lit up again.
Let's go. Okay, so we have a player 1 white, which okay. Can I hit tab? Yeah. So let me see. This machine. We have X rotation Z. What the fuck? Okay, that's different. So hold on. We're talking about rotation in Z axis. And rotation for left and right. And Z axis for up and down. That would. And it is Joy 3. Okay. So we're going to close this out. And we're going to go into LED Blinky. Okay, this is making more sense now. Controls editor. Nope. Close. Input map. So player 2. Oh, we should have looked at what player 1 was specifically saying. Player 2 is not analog. It's Joy 3. Joy 3. Bunch of buttons. And it goes into 4.
Does it think it's like a tile or something?
Does it think of it as like a paddle?
So I was like, I don't know. Like, why would it have a Z and Y? That's an odd
No, it
combo.
had Z and rotate.
Yeah, Z and rotate. Yeah, weird.
Is there any option for you to change those codes in the uh, LED whiz?
Or in GP Wiz?
Yeah,
Nah, maybe I have to go and get the piece of software and look, but that's a whole other can of worms. I need to.
because what I would say is we would probably want to, if possible, assign those as buttons so that it would operate like,
I do have the app. Here, let's
yeah,
see.
let's see. So wait a minute, what is this? Oh, so yours are analog sticks? It says no devices found.
Yeah, I don't know why it's saying that.
What'd it do?
I don't know. Let me try loading again.
Any devices. What if you click on 1, 2, 3, or 4? What does that do?
It just goes through.
It says no devices found. Is that you moving the control?
Yeah, it's me moving around. But when I click go, it just quits.
Okay. So for the first one, we did get this one. We were able to map the codes.
It was coming up as white, but it was coming up. It was lighting again.
Right, but now the thing is let's go into. Let's look at the controls for colors and let's just change this back. Oh, let's change this back to joystick. And change this one back to joystick. Now that we at least have mappings, that might be possibly it. Let's try it that way. Let's make sure that this is unloaded. Yep. Okay, we're going to close that. We're going to close this one. And we're going to glance one more time. Joystick blue, player 2, joystick red. That's the way I define mine. Controls 8-way. And we'll put player 2. Player 2 8-way. I don't know if that does anything or not. So before it was grabbing the color because it was assigned to 8-way. And 8-way was the code. Oh. Okay. No. Doesn't have to be joystick. It doesn't have to be joystick. It just has to be up. Oh, why am I doing that? Ultimate. Damn it. Ultimate. Was the joystick blue for the first one?
Joystick is blue for the first one. The other one is white.
It's
Player two is
it's
white.
off or white?
I'm sorry, it's off. My bad.
Okay, but we did get the blue to respond.
Yeah.
Okay. So now the only question is, and I think I know how to do this one now because this is what we had to do with the arcade stuff. And that is looking at our controls file. We need to be able to grab a name of any code. So what we can do is on the joystick 2, let me make sure my logic's right. We go into here, into colors, and we say, okay, so the colors there are fine. The key is in the controls. We have button, joystick up, down, joystick up, down. And then so it's saying up, down, left, right. Okay, and then back over here. You look at that controls editor for the input and see player 2 joystick input map. These map to buttons in MAME. So over here in the controls, we're looking at these codes. And then, let's see, yeah, the color didn't get defined here. The color, you just see. Where did P2 joystick get defined?
Joystick 2.
The rest of these mappings work, so I don't know if that would make a big difference. What we'll do is we'll save them. So did you type
Do we need
in
to change those? Aren't those working now on player 1?
player 1? We're going to just change these to the built-in code and then see if it still lights up blue. Because this shouldn't matter. It should be mapping to what the control is over here. That's the big issue there. These names shouldn't matter. It should matter simply what has been assigned. That, like, see, in LED Blinky or in MAME, these are how the buttons show up. But that's not how it shows up. So this is how it shows up for player 1, right?
Yeah.
But for player 2, get the right one. This is not how it shows up in MAME. That's the reason why, because there's a mismatch, it's not working properly. But what we could do is we could add a, you don't use F15 anywhere, right?
15 for key
Right.
code?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Right. Most people don't. We're going to add that there as a, oh, but you can't, well, maybe, how would you enter it? Um, what, how to enter F15 from key.
I gotta head back to work here in a minute. Yeah.
Okay, so it'll be shift. You'll do shift and F3 to get to 15. Okay, so we'll do that. We'll hit that. We'll put a F15 on there, save that. And then we're going to do, close that out. We're going to go into LED Blinky, box games, MAME. We're going to look at the config. We're going to look at the default. And we're going to add a joystick RX access. How do we have multiples in here? Okay, so we do put the OR in there. So up on this one, we're going to put OR F. Let me see, MAME key code. That's all we have to do is we have to look over in the one we already have open. Input map. We are on key code underscore F15. What we're going to try to do here. Key code underscore F15. And that way we're associating that link exists between this. Got it? And then if there's an empty, okay, that's empty, that's fine. And then do we have a UMK in here? Yep, we do. So down on the, oh, these are only if they differentiate from default. Okay, so now we have we should pick up that second joystick now under colors because there's something that that joystick's associated to that should show up in here. We're going to close this out. Make sure it's closed. It is. Close that out. Which one is this? This is not the latest. No. One more thing. Launchbox. LED Blinky. LED Blinky. Just want to look at that colors one more time. Colors. That joystick 2 is red. Controls. 8-way, 8-way. Okay, and then with that extra mapping in place now, the F15 should be able to use to link the two. Is where I'm going with that.
All right.
Let's see. Excuse
me.
If that doesn't work, then I would suggest we just let me see, ultimate. If that doesn't work.
It worked.
All right, let me show that. Okay, so as you can see, the big issue was the fact that the mappings did not correlate exactly. Because they did not correlate exactly, there was no way for MAME to know how to associate to the specific LED. Now that we've set up a fake link of F15, it's a fake link, but it's enough to let LED Blinky know that these commands equal these LEDs. That allows you now to go into those color files, add games, specify color for joystick 1, specify color for joystick 2. So that'll work for any of the games now that you go back and add colors to. Does that make sense?
So now that F15 has been set this one time, everything else will be associated with that as different.
Correct, because as long as in your default MAME, and if you install a new version of MAME, make sure to copy those default config file so that the mappings are all there, including our fake mapping.
Gotcha.
And then the one last issue that you had a question mark about was installing doing basic colors for like NES and things like that.
Yeah, just so Genesis has one color set up for all the time.
But now that we have all the mappings set up correctly, I actually there is a video on my channel that says how to do it for NES. Have you seen that one?
Yeah, I watched that one. I didn't get one of the prompts that you got, which was to set it up as a completely new machine. Like, that didn't come up. I had all the machines already there when you go.
That's
to Controls
why.
Editor.
So what you want to do is in your Controls Editor, we'll look for the name of the emulator in question. Let's see.
I've been using Fusion for Genesis. I probably play more Genesis games than I do Nintendo.
Okay, so the thing is, do we see Fusion in here already?
I don't see Fusion, but I did see Sega Genesis, which is what
Okay, so let's go to import unknown games. There's your Sega Genesis.
Yep.
Okay, so it'll depend on the emulator. So it says has defaults. We'll go into Genesis. There's your Genesis game. And what we'll do is we're going to go ahead and hit cancel that. But this is where we found it, right?
Yep.
And then this default, we modified this. Now these are all set to black. Button Z?
Yeah, XYZ.
Okay, so they're all set to black right now.
Oh, funny, they actually spell out Z.
So what, let's say we want to change,
let's make 1, 2, 3 red and.
Now why are your input codes on here? Oh, they would need to be here. So button. So button A, what color would you want that to be?
We'll do A, B, and C as red, and we'll do X, Y, and Z as blue.
So A, B, C, and then X. And with that being set black, that's probably why at one point you might have gotten a low white.
Yeah, a long time ago, I managed to go and get a low white, which makes sense now that you've shown me what black actually was before we changed it. But I haven't been able to go and get that since. So I just.
And then we will set what, red, yellow, or blue for the joystick?
White.
White for the joystick. Okay. And then that, of course, you would want them all to be white.
Mm-hmm.
And then what you'll have to do for when you go to program the second joystick, for the code there, you may have to put in like fit. Actually, it shouldn't matter because this is programming it straight to the light anyway. Button 9 is start.
I don't have any lights on start.
Oh yeah, they're black. Okay, so we're gonna hit OK on that and hit save. We're gonna confirm that when we look at Genesis, is now showing these colors. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna close this. We're gonna close this. We're going to make sure it's not loaded. Yep. And now we're going to have you go launch that game. Or anything that uses specifically that Genesis emulator.
Which is all my Sega games, I think, that of the 16-bit-ish era, like Game Gear, I think Master System even.
I would just look at the info on the side to make sure that it's showing that right emulator first.
Okay, so Genesis. Let's even look up specifically.
Pico. Go ahead and launch it. Oh no, that one shouldn't do a preview.
Oh, it doesn't. Okay, well that explains that then.
Good. Okay. Let's glance at that real quick. Go ahead and exit out of here. And then, okay, so you've got, let's close this. Close. LED Blinky. Okay, Controls Editor. Sega Genesis. Sega. Genesis. That's one out there. Exit game. I got those set up. Player 1. Oh. Okay.
Should be set to joy code 3.
See here, control mapped only.
Uh-huh.
These are only going to show you options that are mapped to your control panel. Which button was A?
I'm not sure what you'd have to look up the in the config in the LED Blinky config to see.
Button 4, 5, 6. Okay, so 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3 is the order you went in. So we're going to get rid of this one.
You got to do
4.
joy code. Okay.
Because it has to have something associated. 4, 5, 6. Oh, see, it also used to be number 1. Now it's 3. So that checkbox, show the ones, that kind of helps make sure you keep only the ones that are available to you. And then we do 1, 2, 3. So we get rid of that one. 2. And then this one, we get rid of that one. 3. And then for joystick player 1, we go, that was these wrong ones. And actually, as long as you grab one of the codes, you're okay. You're okay. You don't need the rest. Well, you do just for the sake of having, it just doesn't matter which code you use.
That's what I thought, like when it was just classified as 8-way joystick, I was like, oh, okay, because I hadn't done that on this new install of everything, of setting it up as independent up, down, left, rights. I was fine with just saying 8-way joystick, you know.
Yeah, but it needs something to correlate between the actual control. And then your start buttons, they don't matter. So now we're going to look at player 2. So if you want to do player 2, then just kind of copy player 1 and change the buttons. But let's test this as a theory and see if this gives us at least the player 1s. Because you can see now how dependent mapping those controls to the real controls, how that association is done. Because if the association is off and you're mapping to something very weird, it won't see it.
Right.
But luckily with that F15 thing, that takes care of at least the second joystick, because that one is mapped really weird.
Yeah.
But if it works, if we get it to work, then that's fine.
Yeah, just who cares how it works under the hood, but...
What's that?
Who cares how it works under the hood? The bubble gum is holding the hose.
As long as it looks pretty when your guests are over, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's see. So I'll try Biohazard Battle again, I guess. Why not?
I don't remember if it previews those or not. Actually, it might. I don't know.
It does. It is lit up. It looks like we need to go and change the button order, but they're lit up. Oops, I'm sorry.
Lit down. Okay, yeah, and you're totally fine getting all that nailed down.
Yeah, great. Wow, man. What a journey! But
So it
that
took
looks
us 3
great.
days, but I think we got everything. And now that you have that mapping the correspondence between those mappings done correctly, you should be able to do things like the chase headquarters, because of the chase headquarters is you're lighting up the button by port ID directly. Do
Right.
you know what I mean? So that should be fine. But as far as getting these mappings to map out straight, I'm glad I tested on mine because that XML file was crucial. Um,
Gotcha.
and then yes, now it's just gonna be fun for you to go. Most of the games that were in that file already will already be mapped, but then you're gonna have to go back and fill in the ones that aren't. But I think you have everything you need to do it. So
Yeah, I'm definitely going to swap out all the ones that are listed as black. I'm going to go and give them at least white, so there's something there and not
yeah,
just a dead joystick. Because I don't even only time I want it to be black is when there's nothing, nothing for that particular game.
hmm
But whatever. But
and if you really want to be like anal with the details, what I do sometimes is I'll look up what the original hardware was for the game, and if it was like Frogger and it had a green joystick, I'll
uh-huh.
light it up green.
Okay.
Things like that. So, but I think, like I said, I think you're now in the state where everything is set up basically correct, and you can now go and tweak and rest and make it all pretty.
Okay. All right, man. Thanks so much.
Cool,
I
no
hope.
problem, man.
Thanks for helping me out so much. Okay, I'll talk to you later. Good
Yeah,
luck
man.
with everything else.
You
Okay.
as well,
Take
man.
care.
Bye. Good luck with work.
Okay.
All right, so that was Tyler. We went through all kinds of stuff to get that thing to work originally, and then there was a whole like 2 or 3 hours where it ended up not ending up being anything that I could really use. So then the second day is where we got into the aiming for LED Blinky, but it became an issue of the control mappings. And then today, finally getting it all figured out, and some issues on my machine that I was having issue with too. One of the things to remember on this one though that was kind of critical is when you can't get the joy codes or the keyboard codes to map correctly, you can kind of jerry rig it with using one of those weird F15 numbers. As long as there's a link for it to understand how to communicate, you'll be good to go. But if you guys enjoyed this video, please make sure to hit like. If you find it helpful, let me know. If you guys want to help support the channel in any way, I do have a PayPal and a Venmo on mavericksarcade@gmail.com, and also I do have Patreon. So um, if you guys would like assistance with an issue like this, please make sure you've seen all my videos and looked through them first. And then if you still have problems, shoot me an email. I might be able to help you.